Oh, concerns about me, thanks.
Alright.
Okay, there goes the title music.
Start stripping now.
Alright.
Whatever we got to do to get views, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, hey everybody, welcome to the session 0 for our new Cyberpunk Red campaign, which is yet to be titled, so that's one of the things to come. So, for those not familiar with the session 0, we'll go through some of the details and sort of say it's a very, very basic way of setting out expectations and standards for the campaign, and then giving a bit of an intro to people's characters, seeing how they fit together. If we've not established it, then building those links, and just making sure that we're getting the game that everybody wants to play in, everyone's on the same page, so we have a good footing to start off next week. So I think maybe we'll start off with just a quick intro to everybody. So if you want to, we'll go around, introduce yourself, tell us if you do anything elsewhere on the internet, and who you'll be playing. Let's start. We'll do it in the overlay order. So we have our medtech, John Smith. What do you do?
Yeah, that's not me, brother. I'm actually down there where it says Reaper. But
Oh, did I put you in the wrong spot? I'm sorry.
yeah, it's all good, brother. It's cool. No worries.
Sorry.
Hey.
I can move that.
But no, I am kind of a miscreant that was found on the street by my uncle. And my family originated from a nomad pack there in Scotland, and I was abandoned because my parents were, I guess, screwed over, for lack of a better word, during their business. They were working with biotech as techs, and they had some deal that went on with the scabs. My character doesn't know exactly who did it, and he was on the street for about 4 years as a child, and then him and his uncle came to America near, Night City area, and there was an ambush set up for him, and so about 10 years later on, he's about 20 years old, and now he's trying to figure shit out.
Cool. Damn you for switching to third person halfway through that, because I was getting ready for the very old, very tired, okay, and enough about you, who's your character?
Yeah.
Ruining all my fun, man.
The only thing
okay.
I can do is fourth wall,
It's okay. I forgive you. Right. So, our medtech is the one person that we're missing at the moment. We may have had some slight timing / people not feeling very well issues. So he may or may not be with us later on. We'll hope for the state of his guts. So let's move over to our rocker. I was going to say rocker boy, rocker girl, I think it is.
Yes, rocker girl. So.
Got to turn your mic up.
Is it good now?
A little better.
Okay. I was having mic problems earlier. I guess it's popping up again. So my character is born and bred in South Night City, as were her parents. They're basically really poor in the combat zone. Grew up selling scrap and scavenging stuff. Had a kid, and then parents got arrested because a corp decided to buy their building, and the cops basically trumped up charges for all the residents of the building as they were protesting the corporate destruction, and they were shoved in jail. So she started running with gangs out of survival, and gang life is tough. It's not a great way to live. And then a retired roller derby athlete caught wind of her on the streets. She was quick playing the street games and decided to mentor her. So Janet became Hit and Run, and she is a rocker girl who is a professional roller derby athlete playing on one of the South Night City inter-district teams in that league. So,
Very nice. Thank you.
So,
And our netrunner, Zero.
Yeah, so Zero Sum is living in the past. They were raised in the corporate star scrapers with corpo executive parents living the life. And in that time, they read all of the old books that tried to predict what this world would be. Failed miserably, but in some ways did really well. And their heroes were Count Zero and Chase and Hero Protagonist and all of the guys from those old books. Acid Burn from the movie Hackers. Zero Sum loved all of that stuff and tries to be what they wanted the world to be like instead of the way Night City ended up. At some point in their life, there was a long-term bad thing that happened. Was going to play that out with Session Zero stuff, exactly what that was. But family lost status and Zero Sum ended up on the streets. And they are out there now. As far as me, the player, I'm Vampire Bites. So in addition to this game, I run a Cyberpunk Red game on my own channel on Sunday nights. And that's it currently. But all over Discord, in the RTG, the Cyberpunk Uncensored Discords as Vampire Bites.
Awesome, thank you. And last for the moment, but certainly not least, we have our tech.
Hey there, guys. My name is, well, in real life, it's Zach. On our Facebook and Discord and everywhere else, it's Capricious Nature. I'm a big proponent of making materials and resources, so if any of you on Facebook or Discord or anywhere see me spamming that stuff, I'm very, very sorry. Just want to share.
But it's all good, so we forgive you.
Yeah, you do good scream sheets though too.
That's what I always try to aim for. I aim to get the best materials out I can to help out the community, because I know, shout out to Rob. Rob, you're the reason that I'm on here in the first place, so thank you for pushing me and saying just give it a shot. He put himself out there, I decided to do the same, so that's why I'm involved with Cyberpunk Uncensored. I do the scream sheets. I help out with the graphics overlays. I'm currently working on learning how to do Photoshop so I can get more fantastic portraits out for everybody on our crews. So, more of those to come in the future. As for my character, I am going to be playing Bolt, and it's been a big mix-up whether or which one I was playing in the long run, and I decided to go with the vehicle maintenance guy. He's a mechanic, and he's mostly focused on getting vehicles to go as fast, as far, as quickly, and as armored as possible. Big proponent of racing, and when he gets his hands onto cars, he always tries to do his magic. And when it comes to that, he's got some crazy stuff that happened with his background, and we'll talk about that later, I guess, because his most valued person and photograph of that person is a picture of his dad, who is a race car driver who passed away in an accident and left behind some very serious debt for Bolt to pick up.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to quickly go into myself, my name's Matt, aka Reservoir Panda, and At the moment, I tend to run games. I'll now be running 2 weekly Cyberpunk Red games here on Cyberpunk Uncensored. And if I ever pull my finger out, I will stream a lot of the other things that I run as well. But, that's dependent on a lot of extra effort, which really doesn't sound like me. I will be running the world for these guys to run around and blow up or save as they wish. I run a very loose table in terms of I try not to push players too much in one direction or other. I'm a big proponent of player choice and character choice, doing what your character wants to do rather than just running with something because I've thrown it there and expected you to pick up that plot hook. If you want to breeze by some plot, that's absolutely fine. A couple of things to get started with, though. We should do a little bit of a thank you to Rob and the Cyberpunk Uncensored channel, because there is so much work that goes into all of this project. It's not just things that are streamed here. The Discord, the website are full of resources. It is an unbelievable resource for games. Even if you've got no interest in streaming or playing online with other people, if you do, there are plenty of games to find there and people to play with. But even if you just want to pick up stuff for your own home games, there is so much there, more than you could ever use, and there are people contributing on a daily basis more and more material, including some of the people here, as we've mentioned. It is a fantastic project, and it's nice to be involved in it in a little way. And part of what helps that is also all the fantastic sponsors that we have, so please check those out as well. To start with, I think maybe we should go through the basic ground rules stuff. Now, we've already had a quick talk about these in our Discord, but I think it's always best to maybe get it there on camera in the first session. Also let you guys in chat, some of whom may not have seen particularly my games before, let you know what to expect from us. So, basic stuff. There is... Cyberpunk is a dark world. Lots of nasty shit happens, and to a degree, some of it may be touched upon, but there are certain things which will remain off limits or will be alluded to, but will remain off screen, because this is not torture porn. This is not, we don't want to get into the ins and outs of horrible things that people do. We just know that they are there and they do those things. We can gloss over the ins and outs. Same for personal relations. If a character wants to go around and sleep with half of the NPCs that we have, that's absolutely fine, more power to them. But at the same time, we don't need to know who puts what in where. So you can feel free to write your own private fan fiction, draw artwork if you like. I'm sure there is a place for it. There's definitely a place for stuff like that on the net, but it's not going to be featured here. Language. Now, this is partially a concession to the way that I speak, in that you can swear as much as you like, because I'm probably going to be the worst offender. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't try to enforce rules about that. I try to keep it to, in-character things. And what I do want to avoid is anything which is going to be, potentially, actually, real life. That's not okay. There are terrible people in this universe. There are people who will use homophobia, who are racist, have prejudices against people's ability, their backgrounds. That yes, those people exist, but I don't feel comfortable particularly, or feel the need, or that it adds anything, for me to be putting those words into my mouth for the sake of being explicit about it. If someone is a nasty character, I think I can put it across without actually using words that I would never want to say myself, and words which I think are potentially upsetting to people either who are playing or who may be watching the game. Some people think that's inauthentic. I think it's just common courtesy to, respect people in that way. And I would hope that everyone agrees with me, or even if you don't agree with me, that you can go along with it because, those are the rules of the game, and that's most things I'm very laid back on. When it comes to things that are actually seriously offensive, then that's when I would speak to someone. Never been an issue on any of these streams, I should stress, and I don't think it would be with any of these players. But again, we're setting ground rules, and hopefully that's okay to everybody. Can we just go around and, if people don't mind, quickly check, does that seem like a fair starting point for you? And if there's any particular subject that you would like us to steer clear from completely, then you can either tell me on here or you can drop me a message and I will avoid it being even referenced. You don't need to give an explanation or a reason. Those are your own. Just feel free to say, and we'll keep it completely out of being referenced. Bolts, how's that sit with you?
I'm actually, to any of my students who might be watching, I swear, I'm actually a teacher. And so I completely and totally respect and understand that. Offensive language when it comes to like swear words, I'm totally comfortable with. As soon as it goes beyond that into racism, homophobia, and stuff like that, it starts to cross a bridge a little bit too far, in my opinion. But that's mostly because out of respect for other people. So I think it's important, as you mentioned, to be respectful not only of the players but of the audience. So I'm in total agreement for that. In regards to like taboo subjects, one of the things that I teach my students about is the idea of morality. And so when we start going into those morally ambiguous territories of like sexual assault or hurting children or elders or things along those lines, that's a little bit too far for me as well. I generally try to keep those out of my own games as well. So I'm pretty much in complete agreement with you. And outside of those, like, my sincerest apologies to any students watching. I will be swearing my face off. So I'm going to be right up there with you, Panda. So expect that.
Fuck yeah, man.
Hell yes. So that's
Right.
where I stand on the situation.
Cool. Thank you. Bran, all good with you? Anything you'd like us to avoid?
No, man. Pretty much got the same thing with what he said. Basically, yeah, nothing with children. That'll freak me out, But same thing, give respect to other people, especially where it's due. But I'm not really picky on shit, especially from my background in nature. So, other than that, man, GM away.
Good, thank you. And since it's come up, it might set everyone's mind at ease to know that in season 1 of my other campaign, which runs on Sundays, Chumbas, we already did the child abduction storyline where they had to, track down the person who was abducting these kids. So that's already done. We don't have to cover that. I don't like to repeat material.
Yeah,
I'm actually okay with, because like kidnapping happens, but brutalizing the children is where I would draw the line.
Yeah, rape, mutilation, that type of thing.
Yeah. And if anyone ever wants to go back and watch my badly filmed stumblings of season 1, then you should be able to get a sense from that, as well, of the fact that anything bad, particularly that happened off screen and detail was not gone into. So We were fairly good there. Okay, Zero Sum. Anything to add? Thoughts?
I'm completely in agreement with everything so far. I myself am a member of the LGBT community as well, so I'm very thankful to everyone that has made that line where that's not something to be crossed. Thank you. So nothing particular to add.
Cool. That works. Thank you. And Hit and Run.
Yeah, agree with everything everyone's saying. And I mean, at Cyberpunk, it's a dark world. Things happen. Like maybe we go after the kidnappers, maybe we go after the people who are trafficking women. We just don't get into the details of what happened. You know, we just solve the problem, keep it veiled, keep it off screen. And then as far as language, my character is a born and bred gang member who turned professional athlete. So she reverts to her roots at times. So there are times when I will play a very foul-mouthed female athlete. She tends to refer to her chooms as bitches. If that ends up being a problem, I can totally cut that out of her roleplay style.
No.
But it's a loving term
Please
of
do
endearment.
that. That's going to be wonderful.
It's a loving term of endearment. No, I am not attempting to make a mockery of any female voice styles. Just pretend like I'm a woman talking. I will
Gotcha.
not try and fake accents. I
Big man,
will
gruff bitches.
embarrass or get crazy with it. But everything that's been stated, everybody else, that's all. It's a dark place. Things happen. Let's just keep the really, really nasty stuff veiled and in the black.
Gotcha.
Fantastic. Good to see that we're all sort of on the same page there. And if we're going to start apologising for accents, then I really need to start now. Again,
No,
if any,
it's all right.
yeah, if anyone's seen any of my previous streams, you may have seen me attempt some accents. You may not know what accents they were supposed to be, but what the hell? I keep doing it because it makes people laugh, whether it's for the right reasons or not. So there we go.
I just stop because it's embarrassing when I do.
Fair enough.
My players know I have one accent, and it's just this really, really bad German. And yeah, I try not to do that in public, at least.
What are you talking
Fair
about?
There we go. Yeah, if we're talking about embarrassment, I'm already on camera, so that's as bad as it can really get. Between my face and the mess of my office in the background, which I really need to sort out. It's a solid plan. I do have a green screen, which I really need to set up. Make it look a bit more professional.
Mine's over in the corner. I haven't played with it yet.
I'm not even home, so I'm really glad my friend has a plain white door behind me.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you all for going through that little bit, because that's it's an awkward moment, but I think it's a very, very important one to any session zero. And if anyone's going to ever use this as a template for a session zero, I probably wouldn't. I'd go and check out. I'm pretty sure Rob has a tutorial video on session zeros, and Rob's tutorial videos will always wipe the floor with anything that I've done, because my brain doesn't work and I'll keep going back and having to correct myself because I've missed things. So yeah, definitely follow his videos rather than this shoddy display of mine. Nothing to do with you guys, just my disorganization. Okay. Now, in terms of rules, again, another boring bit to get out of the way, but just to let everybody know, as I think you're already aware, most of the time I will pretty much stick to rules as written. I do like to keep things moving, and I have a crappy PC which doesn't like me having 12 PDFs open and flicking back between them all the time at the same time as I've got Twitch up and I've got the stream up. So I tend to minimize my referencing of tables and things, and if we come to something and we don't know a rule immediately, then I would rather just make something that makes sense for the moment and move on, and then we can clear it up later if necessary. If it turns out that I was way off base, I just like to keep things going because my streams also have a tendency to be longer than I like. So I'm trying to work on that. I'm improving for you guys.
Sorry, I went
This is
cross-eyed there for a second. That's crazy.
okay. Cool. Right. So we've had basic character introductions. So where would people like to start going into? Maybe let's get some. Does everyone have a clear idea of their physical description of their character? Again, if you want to work on artwork, go for it. My art is terrible, but I will still give things a try sometimes. So yeah, what does your character look like? What do we see when they walk in a room? I don't want to keep going back and forwards through the list, so let's start with Reaper this time.
He's kind of rugged. With coming back to kind of like a nomadic group, and then breaking off. He's still holding on to some of his. So he's wearing his family tartan, right? So he's wearing a kilt and boots, and he's kind of got like a nomadic kind of Western dress shirt and a vest and like a tie. So he kind of looks like he's well to do, but more kind of rugged. He's got actual tattoos on his arms instead of light tattoos. He's got a beard going, a little bit of scars and stuff on his face and on his hands from actually working and living a life out there throughout the city, back in Edinburgh, there in Scotland when he was on the streets as a kid, and then coming back. So he's looks like 10 years older than what he actually kind of stuff. His eyes are kind of sunken a little bit back into his head, and his hair is not really neat. It's kind of gruff and rough. He still got a little bit of his accent from his roots, but kind of more like southern west fusion of verbiage, and of course along with the lines with the street slang and everything like that. So it's a lot of jargon and broken up and everything like that. But he understands his surroundings, and like whenever he walks into a room, it kind of silences a little bit, and then everybody starts talking again.
Okay, very nice. And generally speaking, is he now? You're a solo, so do you walk everywhere strapped to the nines, or are you a more concealed carry person?
Well, he generally has he's got 3 concealed weapons on him at any given time. He's always got he's got his tomahawk that he's got kind of at the small of his back that he'll pull out. All right, and he's got his heavy pistol, and then he's got an SMG that's slung around with a sling that's attached to him. Also, he does generally carry an assault rifle, or one of the Miltech or Arasaka Ronins. But that's generally he has that strapped to his bag instead of carrying it around slung over his shoulder or whatever, like how a soldier generally does, get in the way. But he's got a tactical jacket on also with certain things hidden in different compartments and everything too. So. And
very nice.
His sporin if he's running and slapping him in the nuts. Other than that.
Yeah, always that weapon of last resort.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Bolt. What do we see when Bolt walks in? I'm seeing some facial expressions which tell me we're in for a fun description here.
Thought my microphone was on, my bad. I was reacting to all of the wonderful comments on Twitch saying that we need to get some additional lighting on our wonderful solo so you can show off that sexy face.
Wow.
Nice. Nice.
Take a look at the Twitch, you got all the love.
How about that?
Let's see. So the character I've got. So I wanted to represent a little bit about where I'm at because I absolutely love the country that I'm in. I'm in Taiwan right now. Absolutely amazing country. And my character, I actually rolled for it, and it came up perfectly, is Southeast Asian. So they're going to be a mixture of parents who are Taiwanese and most likely American white. Mostly just generic chic. Wears what he can when he can. And the one important thing that he always has worn is his spiked boots. And so you'll see him if it is extra resistant to working, he will use percussive maintenance with his wonderful boots, and will kick the crap out of it in old school style until it runs. Outside of that, short spiked hair. I'm taking some advice from Rob. I'm gonna go get a haircut. I can't do Ellie's wonderful wigs, so I'm gonna go get a haircut, a little bit of gel, and spike up for camera. Yeah. Outside of that, he runs a shop, and inside that shop, while he's there, I'm gonna see if I can find one. He wears coveralls. And for those coveralls, it's just to keep his clothes generally clean. When he's out, though, he's walking around in that generic chic. He will always be armed pretty much with something that's concealable, no matter what, because he operates out of Little China. And so, being a Taiwanese person inside Little China, it's not always going to be the best mixture. So, always armed, always wearing his spiked boots, got spiky short hair, generally neutral with other people. So when it comes to strangers, just okay. But outside of that, yeah, that's pretty much nuts and bolts, or the nuts and bolts of Bolt.
Thank you very much. Let's hear about Hit and Run. I think you've got a strong look going there.
Yeah, I wish I could somehow flash this picture up, but you'll all see the token when we get on roll 20. But I mean, she's definitely got an athletic build, the lean, wiry type of athletic, where like everything is everything about her body is geared towards moving fast, juking, jiving, and occasionally taking hits. Because in our real life world, roller derby can be kind of violent. So cyberpunkify that, and roller derby and cyberpunk. It's not meant to be a lethal sport, but it can hurt pretty bad. So she's got some crazy ass light tattoos going on. They go across her upper back, down her arm. Her tech hair is generally multicolored. When you see the shot, it's generally a blue, like a blue and a pinkish, in like waves coming down her back. Usually pulled up in a bun, or not in a bun, but in a tail, so it's not getting in the way. Generally runs around in gang colors because she's a ganger. But when she has to do like the public athlete things, you might put herself up a little bit, look a little bit less street to get the fans and keep the sport image going. She has cyber legs, and on those cyber legs, as befitting a roller derby athlete, are skate feet. And she is almost always moving around with those wheels out. Pretty much the only time she retracts those wheels is when she actually needs solid footing, like she jump off a roof or going across wet surfaces or something. Otherwise, she's as fluid and dexterous as you see all those videos on YouTube where those people they run roller skates like we are walking. It's just natural to her. And then
I would have been disappointed if he didn't have the skate feet, to be honest.
Yeah.
oh no, that was the entire gimmick for this character. Was a way to make skate feet like actually work and be awesome. So she She did grow up in a combat zone, so she's not an idiot, and she usually packs a very heavy pistol on her hip, although it's practically never been fired. Because if you think of the old westerns, how on the horse they have the little holster and they sling in their carbine or their repeater, she has a similar holster slung across her back, which holds Old Glory, which is her studded bat, which is her preferred weapon of choice when it comes to physical diplomacy or knocking a blocker out of the way when she's on the derby field. And then, let me get my notes. Flip the screen. She's generally an outgoing type of person, um, friendly, outgoing, but that was a coping mechanism because if you show weakness, you show hurt, you show pain on the streets, you're just making yourself a target. So she generally is friendly and outgoing, but if she gets pushed or lines get crossed, the street kid will come out and you'll know the street kid is out and you might not like it. And the final thing about her is she also has chem skin. So she's a Caucasian, but generally her skin defaults to like a light tan that you might see from somebody who lives in Southern California or Florida. Not somebody who suns themselves, but just somebody who's usually outside, all the time. But when her hormones and her adrenaline ramp up, it turns deeper and deeper into a burnt orange. So in the middle of a high stakes match or a firefight, or she's fighting for her life, she's basically a burnt orange, manic mass of bats and limbs, getting business done.
Oh yeah.
Very nice, thank you. And Zero Sum.
Yes.
What do we see physically in the net?
Mm-hmm. So in the net, I'll start there. You see Tron because he's
nice.
Zero Sum is an 80s throwback. So you see Tron, and when they break out their worm, it's actually like a Minecraft key. So all of their software is based on old school video game references or old school movie references. And so outside of the net, kind of a boho style, has the fingerless gloves, the traditional kind of 80s punk, but with some of that tech flair. The tech hair running down his bald head in a mohawk. So the player's going to be wearing a LED strip on my head to simulate that. Just because I bought it and it's going to be Arduino, it's going to be so much fun. You might have noticed
you have
that
a mohawk too.
no, I'm just bald currently. I'm going to have.
I mean, like a nice wig, nice big mohawk wig.
No, it's not a long mohawk. It's this tech hair stripe. So it's going to be like stripes of the glowing LEDs, and they're going to be sound reactive because that's kind of how some Zero Sum is.
Like how
Zero Sum also has. Yeah, Zero Sum also has 3 light tattoos. One, and they're all linked to their biomonitor. So one is the EKG, one is the EEG, and one is the pulse oximeter. And they're all in waveform, but in glowing neon colors. And they've got EMP threading that kind of weaves them all together to link them to make it look like they are a human circuit board. The other thing noticeable is both of their eyes are cyber eyes. No noticeable weapons. Like literally their entire life is their deck and their agent, and that's it. And they're currently saving up their money so that they don't have to carry an agent around. They're saving up for an audio suite because they want that internal agent so bad. And, Sum Zero needs to look this cool to make up for the fact that they really aren't cool at all. They make social blunders left and right. They have a cool of 3, let's be honest. Their stat, cool was their dump stat. They have to look cool because they're not cool. So that's where that's where zero sum is.
So it's
awesome.
It's not delivering. It's DiGiorno, man.
Yeah, it's barely DiGiorno. at least DiGiorno tastes good. I might mention that they're also somewhat low on humanity and empathy, so they really don't care that they don't look cool or that they aren't cool. They care that they look cool. They don't care that they aren't cool.
But do you have the glowing frisbee like from Tron?
That is the sword program that they use. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
tell me that
fancy as you, but I got my own little props here in the room I'm using. This is actually my leather crafting room, so I've just got a bunch of tools. I'll be bringing these in, but nothing like fancy glowing pulsing LEDs. My God.
oh,
so jealous.
Tell me that when you like
what you were showing earlier.
Okay.
Nice. And when you like slide to get past a program to the next level, then obviously you're going to be jumping on your light cycle, I presume, and zooming past it. And, yeah.
Yep. I forget.
I am so outclassed already.
The
You're gonna
erase.
have to step up your game.
Yeah.
We all are.
Yeah. So not everything is specifically Tron based. Like the Speedy Gonzales is a set of rocket skates. The Sia is actually, I've got it written down on a different sheet that I don't have access to right now. But yeah, they're all slightly different. So.
Okay. Very, very good. And
that's it.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a kilt next time.
Do it.
And if chat gets their way, nothing else. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
No. They also want that light too. Don't forget
they
that.
do.
They want the kilt and the light.
Where's the light going to be coming from if he's in a kilt?
Well, I'll just go regimental. No, I can't do that. I scared the children.
We're keeping this PG-13.
Yeah, Twitch has rules. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite mini lessons that I teach for my history class when we talk about different wars that have been going on and how when the Scots get involved, when they come in wearing their kilts and playing bagpipes in combat, literally almost every other opposing army would just run. And I told the students just how amazing it is. The crazy things that happen in history.
Yeah. Vikings were very similar to Texas.
Okay. Right. Let's get into some game specifics then. So, tone-wise, as I think we've established by now, I try and keep things not too serious. There is dark material, so I try and balance that out with some of my poor attempts at humour.
Okay.
And I encourage other people to supplement my own limited comedy stylings, as long as that's okay with everybody. It seems like it is, but is anyone going to be absolutely thrown by, quipping with the bad guys and by hilarious slapstick moments and other such nonsense?
No,
I watched your last stream.
I don't know if anybody saw the last scream sheet I put out for the April 1st game, but it was literally about the bozos invading and going on a massive killing spree. So I am 100% down for a little bit of zany as well as a little bit of serious. Go for it.
Yeah.
So, good. And again, I will be led by your actions, but does anyone have a particular thing? Now, we have a solo, so there's definitely going to be an element of fighty, shooty, blowy, uppy madness.
Spidey also.
Uh, yeah. And we also have a nice rocker girl as well who sounds very much in that camp too. So I'm presuming everyone is good with some fairly combat-heavy encounters.
Her life is violence for entertainment.
Good.
Violent
But then,
rollerblading.
Yes, in style. On
Cool.
wheels.
very important. That will be a main feature of this campaign, it appears. So, everybody needs skates. Yeah.
So
I'll just
the
get on a
first
skateboard and hold on.
Yeah, you
first
can be
time-
the one kid who's different and is on a skateboard on or his sister's bike or something, trying to keep up with everybody else. Yeah.
So the first
I'll
time
just
you see her
tether
rip across
myself.
the map, the first time she rips across the map with a run action on skates, people will be impressed.
And like I just told the chat, the Zero Sum has watched the Matrix series of movies many times and has been working on their Neo dodge. So we can dodge bullets if we have to. We just can't shoot them.
Very good. That works. And so that we're not just dwelling wholly in the realms of 3-second intervals and range tables, I do try and intersperse things, and I try and make sure, unless there's a really good reason we have to do one thing or the other specifically for an entire game, I try and put some elements of combat into every game, but also some roleplay interaction or investigation or something else to break it up, so it's not just constant sitting and waiting for your turn to come round and working out what your move's going to be. So I do like to mix that up, and hopefully no one's going to fall asleep if we're doing, while I'm doing my Poirot routine and trying to get you to dig up clues to who stole the Jade Falcon. Then hopefully that's all good.
Hey, even if you stand up and start curtsying it.
Yeah, you can roll this however you want.
Yeah.
As I talked with my wonderful girlfriend, shout out to Sophie if you're watching this, I love you. As I was telling her, is that cyberpunk has always seemed to be a genre that borrows from every other genre. It's mystery, it's action, it's suspense, it's horror, it's all of it. And so yeah, throw in whatever you got, wherever you got it. And if you do decide to bring back that the child abduction stuff, just let us have some fun with the abductors, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Borrow is a strong word. I prefer to outright steal from other genres. So one of I think the penultimate game of my Chumbers season 1, I believe. It took a while for people to catch on that I'd managed to shoehorn the Velociraptor kitchen scene from Jurassic Park into a Cyberpunk game. Because the guy that they were looking to kidnap and get rid of, this crime boss, only let his guard down when he was indulging in his personal kink, which was he's a scaly, and he likes to get modded up with actual interchangeable cyber limbs and things that to look like a velociraptor and hunt people. So
version of a furry.
Yeah, and it's a totally valid lifestyle choice. It's just something that it meant because he was keeping that private, it meant he kept his security away. So it was a good opportunity for them to grab him, shove him in a car trunk, and ship him off to far-flung corners of the earth, so that his competitors could take over his business.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So
And
yeah, I will wholesale steal things.
yeah,
Oh,
I
goodness.
remember the door
I'm like
creaking
now
open.
sweating from laughing too hard.
It's almost like a shout out to Harambe, but to good night.
Oh, too soon, too soon. It's always too soon for Harambe.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Hopefully
He
I don't
says
have a target on my
until
face now.
episode 3,
Dun dun dun. Jack of the Gorilla.
Cyber Psycho Gorilla. I wouldn't do that. Or would I?
Please,
No.
please do.
Go for
And
it.
we have an arc on our server about cyber blobs and their like underground society. That arc isn't finished yet, but they are nasty and freaky and very dangerous.
A cyber blob
It's basically
from like the
cross
movie
between
The Blob.
no, it's
Wouldn't
like
it ever
they're
like
almost like
dissolve?
some of the Doom, like some of the Doom demon, like the demons from like the Doom franchise, mounted on
Oh,
the wheelchair, cyber chairs add-on they put out. Yeah, they're nasty.
that is freaking terrifying.
We all took humanity loss when you do them. That's how nasty they are.
That sounds
My
like
old,
Cthulhu.
my old DM. Yeah, my very
it
first
was
DM.
meant to be
They scared the crap out of us with gelatinous cubes, and to this day, anything that is blob-like, literally, the first thing that pops into my mind is the TPKs that we dealt with like 6 times, just because she was like, "Oh well, we're gonna have a gelatinous cube." Like, what is a gelatinous cube? You hear a wet thump. You're all dead.
Nice! So, gelatinous cubes were her equivalent of when I put military-grade weaponry in. I tend to not give that stuff stats. It's plot device. It's you make a roll and we see how much of the world explodes.
I hack it.
True story.
I punch it.
Well, we've got a hacker, we've got the baseball bat, and yeah, we've got eventually a med tech coming in who we'll see how Badger likes to play his med tech.
We've technically got 2 hackers for this military grade equipment. We've got our tech, and we've got our netrunner.
Yeah.
Not to
I
say
can see you
but-
guys have set your sights on some of those things. I know what you're playing at. It's fine. It's fine.
So not to steal
Well,
from Medtech's
on that note,
intro,
what was
but
that?
I
Sorry.
believe he said his character is known for the lack of a medical degree and a lack of morals.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yes,
wonderful.
I remember that in our little chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a phrase that stuck with me as well, strangely enough. Yeah. Okay.
On the note of the military gear, I actually wanted to shout it out really quick just as a mention because I saw Rob mention it a while back. I spoke a little bit with Reservoir Panda about the supplement that I made, and anybody who's watching, if you go on the Cyberpunk Uncensored website, it's called Vehicles of Red, and it's literally just this massive, massive collection of rules, tables, and stuff to help you out because the main manual itself just wasn't as chunky as a lot of people in the community wanted. And talking about like bicycles and roller skates, cars, military grade equipment and vehicles, it's all in there. So if anybody in the community is interested in some hard and fast rules for those, go for it. And I am very much so interested in getting my hands on some of that too. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it is.
And give him feedback. He would love
Yes.
feedback on
Yes,
that. So
please
if you
give me
use it in
feedback.
your use it in your games, let him know. It's
Tell me,
wonderful.
please. I want to know what needs to get changed.
Yeah, and it's a really good resource. It's not necessarily something I will be referring to as much myself because I think I hope I'm not overstepping if I say it's designed more at the sort of person who would like to have lists of this is available, this is available, this is available, this is how you do this is how you do this. Whereas I'm much more laissez-faire. I'm the Yeah, you're doing that. That sounds about a DV13. Go for it. But
Yeah,
if
that
you
was the
want to
whole
have
point of
those
it. Yeah.
specifics and know how to calculate these things rather than having to, pick target numbers and make judgment calls, then it's a really good way of actually getting that nailed down. So it's really awesome. Okay. Right, so we know a bit about who everyone is and who your characters are as well. So, something that we need to settle is how do people feel about knowing each other pre-existing? Do you want to be thrown together as a random group? Do some of you want to know each other in advance, and some of you, be, to know each other. One guy knows the fifth person. Has anyone had any more thoughts on that since we brought it up?
Yeah, Zero Sum is almost definitely a fan of Hit and Run.
Nice.
And I could see them going to Bolt as needed for equipment because, as far as tech goes, the only thing that they're really good at is electronics and security tech. All the other tech is just hasn't had the time to study. So if the cyber deck if their cyber deck goes down, they have to talk to a tech, and so I would imagine that Bolt would be a good resource for that. They also have some
Yeah.
ideas for getting more programs.
So Hit and Run.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a min-maxed character, but there was a dump stat, and that was tech stat. So she can use the living heck out of what's installed on her, but she has no clue how to maintain it. Like she can barely change the batteries. So she definitely needs a tech. So I could see her knowing Bolt just from being a trusted, tech nerd. They can keep her money makers running in top shape.
Okay, so Bolt, you're the center of the group so far.
And
And
additionally, um,
Mm-hmm.
since roles start at 4 as starting characters, but roles actually start at 1, it means that beginning characters have been around for a little while and they've done other
absolutely.
missions. Um, so Zero Sum has no real combat ability to speak of. So knowing a solo from a past gig would be ideal, and probably a med tech for. I mean, I can see Zero Sum knowing everybody in some way from past missions.
So Hit and Run, despite being a sports athlete, she's a female sports athlete in a slightly niche sport in the dark future. It don't pay very many bills. Like it about covers rent, and that's it. And she really wants to become a massive big name that requires eddies, that requires contacts and sources and ways to get out there. So that's how she took up edge running because she was with some groupies one time, basically bitching about the lack of pay she gets. And one of
Continue.
them, one of them was an edge runner and was like, you're pretty freaking kick ass on the field. Like teams out there would love somebody with your, you know, physical diplomacy skills as an asset. So that's how she got into edge running. So she has a rocker. She does have fame. She has an edge runner. It's not. She doesn't hide the fact that she's an edge runner, but she's smart. Covers her face. Tries not to mix the sport athlete with being that chick who like heisted the bank last week with those freaking armed dudes kind of thing. So she could also know some people from gigs or from in the work outside of just her being an athlete also.
Cool. Uh, any other connections which people might have you may have discussed them previously, or if anyone has thought, you know what, it would make sense that I know this person, or I would like to know this person in advance, feel free to shout up.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the.
Go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah.
You first.
Definitely. Like I've seen freaking Bolt before his characters worked on some of my gear before. Uh, uh, Definitely heard of the roller derby going on, and possibly seeing his character, on the bill sheets or whatever for Kira's character, right? And then I can't really say or not if I've made zero sum yet. Um, Kind of working in my mind, but I've definitely heard of the famous roller derby chick that's got some little twists and ganger roots to her and beating the crap out of people, and like seeing maybe a billboard clip or a stream of electronic going down on it like that, and then definitely got like some top notch work done with my like freaking my trigger well is all jacked up, and my freaking triggers all the way back and jacked up, or my upper receiver is like bent, or for some reason because I had to use it and to shove into somebody's eye or something like that instead, you know. So, but like there's word a little bit through like the net kind of somebody named Zero Sum, but I don't think my character's really met that individual yet. But it's like kind of like, hey, follow the white rabbit type shit, but about it.
So I somehow forgot the most important part about my character. She is South Night City's most preem roller girl.
Yeah.
That's her introduction everywhere. She has a garden site, she has everything. But South Night City's most preem roller girl. You've definitely heard of her.
But my character, for the most part, he kind of keeps to himself. Uh, initially, he's just like that. It's in the name. He's a solo, so he gets done what he's got to do and go.
Okay. And I think we had another jump in. Bolt.
Yeah, the when it comes to connections, I think I would be, at least in some way, shape, or form, connected to just about everybody in some way. I mean, with going across the list above, with the med tech, definitely I'd be connected with the med tech in some way, shape, or form, because I mean, I work primarily with dealing with vehicles and transportation, weapons and repairs, but you get hurt on the job. Or if somebody comes in and there's somebody injured in the car, you need to call somebody to come clean stuff up. So, good way to connect in somebody with no morals and no actual medical degree. I think that would work perfectly. For our hit and run, our roller derby chick, the what was it called again? What did you say? The most preem?
South Night City's most preem roller girl.
There we go. For South Night City's most preem roller girl, with the background for my character being somebody who absolutely loves racing and cars and vehicles going fast, getting power. That's definitely something that he'd be interested in. Um, Doing repairs or trying to do some repair modification work, gladly mess around with cybernetics a little bit, and actually made sure to include cybernetic tech in my build just so I could make sure to be part of that. For a solo, someone to stop in, repair weapons, as you were talking about. Maybe my receiver's jammed, maybe something's clogging the one of the ports or something on it. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
I think be able to help with that. And for our net runner, 100% be attached with that, because you've got to have somebody to fix the decks. You've got to have somebody to get the wiring. You've got to have somebody to help make the programs and stuff, which we just discussed, I think, a little bit in Discord. Was talking about how techs can get involved in programming.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it looks like we have we've got the good basis of reasons that you guys know each other. You've all been through a bit. You all have reasons to trust each other to a degree, which is an important thing in Night City. or outside Night City, anywhere in the world of Cyberpunk. Because if you don't have that basis of trust, how are you ever going to get anywhere? How are you ever going to complete a job if you won't turn your back on somebody for 2 seconds? So that is definitely a good starting point. Now, if we've got all of that, what do we think in terms of the game setup? Now, you don't have to have a preference on this, but there are. I think I threw out a few in our Discord chat, but there are 97,000 game premises just running around up in this head. So if anyone has any preferences for, oh yeah, I'd like us all to operate out of a disused garage, or I think we should all just sort of be getting to know each other, and we work through a fixer, or we work through a company or something. Does anyone have any preferences in that way? It sounds like maybe your connections are a bit loose at this point to yet have a single base of operations, which is something that you could potentially explore if you wanted to at a later date. You absolutely don't have to. But did anyone have any thoughts about how you want to be working, how you want to be getting your jobs, and why you're throwing in or going to be throwing in regularly with the same group of people?
Well, definitely, I think in regards to my character for Bolt, with the shop itself being called Nuts and Bolts, I think it's a good place for people to meet up, a good place for people to get contracts. One of the things that I rolled for my character build was that I work with a local fixer who sends me clients, whether it's transportation, racing, or to getting things fixed. And so that's a good way to start getting things met up. And I also had a person coming out for me, and it's a corp. A corp wants me to work exclusively for them. So I think
Oh
those
no.
two could be a interesting connection
Oh
for
no.
trying to get other folks in. And yes, oh no.
Well, no, I say oh no even more because Zero Sum's background, the role specific life path, is a secret corpo partner. Their workspace is minimalist. It's literally their deck, right? They just work out of their cargo container. Probably end up moving to cube hotels to save money. Their clients are primarily corporate execs who use them for black project work. Currently, they're getting software because they have backdoors into a few corporate warehouses. And gunning for them is lawmen who consider me an illegal black hat and want to bust me. I have an enemy that can throw a gang at me. And that's about that. So, and my, the family background and the childhood environment is all corpo based as well. So, you having a corpo gunning for you and me having corpos everywhere in my life path. I just hope that we're not friends because they're using me to get at you.
Let's hope not.
Intrigue starts already.
Well, I will leave it up to you
everything does
guys.
start that way, yeah.
Yeah, I will leave it to you guys whether you want to. You can collaborate and you can specify which corporations these are ahead of time, or you can leave it to my sick, twisted mind. That's always an option as well.
Sick and twisted is always awesome.
Yeah, a little scary, but whatever works.
You also mentioned this gang that can be thrown at you. Again, if you want to detail those out, fantastic. If you don't, and you're you're happy to just be, well, why would it be? When you can have, some weird, like, Cirque du Soleil themed faction of the bozos coming after you as well and trying to, decapitate you with a ribbon on a stick, then
Could be
It's,
the Philharmonic
I'm sold.
Vampires are
I'm
out
sold.
for him.
I'm sold.
You're doing the
I'm sold.
Hercules, Hercules.
I feel like this just became canon. These
I
are the
think
kind
so.
of things that go through my mind all the time. When I said Sick and Twisted, I wasn't joking.
Hey, we're all here for the roller coaster.
Yeah, man. It's like you're the artist and
Cool,
we're there to kind of be a part of it.
I'm there to finger paint.
Oh, pressure.
Whoa. I didn't get that second one. Okay. Finger paint. Gotcha.
Finger painting with the enemy's blood.
There you go. Yeah, sure. That one.
I was like, who's
Yep.
paint?
I'm just not an
Oh,
artist. Finger painting is the best I can put out for that.
Mm-mm. That's what she said.
That's the name of your
Okay.
paint.
Yep. Oh, yes, we have definitely established a tone, and I love it. Right, okay. So it looks like at the minute we're planning some sort of a looser group to start off with, who maybe have some sort of common fixer that they maybe some of you work with regularly, some of you have only done a couple of jobs with, but who puts you all together for something, and you start to work together for that reason. So that's a good basis as far as I'm concerned. So we've sort of covered most of the main points that I had to bring up. Well, I say that, but as we've established right up at the top, my brain and memory do not work. So feel free to shout out if there's something important that you feel we've missed, because I almost certainly have.
Oh, yes, it's on. One of the things that I just wanted to remind our wonderful team members of, in regards to the character that I'm running, is just, as was already mentioned, I'm big into the whole vehicles thing. And so because of that, one of the things that my own table constantly struggled with at the very beginning was transportation. And so I'm making sure that eventually I'm going to steal some cars in Panda's universe,
Oh, hell
as
yeah.
many as I can get my dirty fingers on, finger paint with them. And I'm going to be driving around whatever I can do. It's part of what I wanted to do with my character was also possibly getting into racing, so those big sports. So I might have another connection there with our sporty lady,
Okay.
who might be able to get me in somewhere for either the roller skating, race car driving, whatever it is. So there's additional ways that we can get involved, and interesting things that I'll be able to pull off as a multi-use tech. So
I'm pretty sure
looking
Hit and
forward to
Run
that.
still has some connections there, though, huh?
I think she probably knows a few chums in a gang who lift cars
Sweet.
or know where to lift some cars or know how to chop up some cars or
Or boost, like as in Booster Gang.
so.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of some point if Bolt gets a like a super bike or whatever, I can be the pinion rider, pull up the people and shoot whales on them, sort of like that one scene in the John Wick or whatever, and that biker game pulls up on John Wick.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Except,
yeah.
except
was
we'll,
thinking
we'll,
of
we'll have
Akira
better
there.
luck. We'll have better
Nice.
luck. We'll have better luck than than those mooks did.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Well, they won't have access to a horse, so yeah, that very sensible and necessary part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we seem to have covered most things really in a fairly condensed amount of time, so that's good. I'm used to having to try and rein in my streams, and I've been trying to keep them down. If you exclude our season finale for the last season, which ran to, I was aiming for 3 hours and we ran to 6. So yeah, but I didn't want to cut anyone's action short in the finale, so it was, and there were still people watching. It's all good. But yeah, I will generally try and keep. That's probably a bit of information I should have volunteered already if I've not mentioned it in the Discord. I will generally try and keep things down to around about the 2.5, 3 hour mark for you guys, so that it's not becoming an endurance exercise and we're not sending people to sleep in the stream. Because I do have a tendency to just stream of consciousness, ramble, and get into descriptions of things. And I wouldn't say I have Tolkien syndrome, because that's A, overestimating my talents, and B, maybe just a slightly grandiose way of describing the fact that I waffle a lot of shit. But yeah, I try and rein that in.
So between your games having the possibility and tendency to run over because of rambling, the games that I run on Sunday are supposed to be 3 to 4 hours. I have yet to have one that's been less than 5. So
we go.
I might tend to talk a lot too.
Yeah. We have shared pain.
Yes.
It's all good.
4 to 5 ain't too bad, but I've done a couple accidental 7-hour ones. Those turn into. Come on,
Yeah,
let's just kill the guys and go home.
Yeah, after we close the stream, we still end up, just hanging out in Discord, micro, talking for about an hour afterwards. So it's I talk a lot.
Diarrhea of the mouth is
Pretty sure my
Oh,
pretty sure my girlfriend's still on here, and I think another one of our players joined up as well. I think Chemistry is Punk is one of my players. Shout out. When it comes to our sessions, actually, the reason that the games that we play for Cyberpunk are usually around like about 2 or 3-ish hours is because our former DM for D&D 3.5, with all of those wonderful mechanics and tables, we used to play an average of like 9 to 12-hour sessions, and he said that any game that was under 8 hours was not worth playing.
I like that. I don't
I do
necessarily
not.
agree. I don't necessarily agree. I like that.
Is this person married with 2 kids, a wife, and a job?
Yeah, it was another job. We would come in on Sundays and we would start playing around like 1 to 2 o'clock, and we would finish usually around like 9.
The good old days. I remember those days. I used to be young, dumb, and foolish once. I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm old, dumb, and foolish. Now I'm old, dumb, and foolish.
I spent
You can still have fun.
One too many nights playing till 2 in the morning when you got to be at work at 7.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe a part of my tendency to run over as well, is nostalgia for those teenage days and the college years and things where you could all meet up at 6 on a Friday and then just play and drink and eat pizza right through until like Sunday afternoon, and that was fine. Nowadays I have a wife, I have a dog, I have a job that occasionally expect me to show up. I have to rein things in a little. Oh, Rob, there we go. Everyone is my witness.
Yep.
Rob has just volunteered a 24-hour session. That I think
in.
that's
I am
maybe that's some sort of charity thing we should do. I am absolutely up for that. That is, it's there, it's written, it's in the chat. Somebody screenshot it before he deletes it from the logs.
Okay, deal. Hold on, got it. We're good.
Nice. We are set. Right. Okay. So with that bombshell, is there
for charity? You've been there at the end.
Oh, of course,
For
of
charity.
course. How could it not be?
Yeah.
You can suffer for charity.
I mean, look at this face. It's clearly deserving of charity. If this isn't some sort of abuse advert, then what is?
Shit, I'd
Okay.
do that.
I don't think I'd be able to survive long enough to pull that off. As I mentioned before, I teach, and oh my god, I would have no energy.
I'll I'll call out of work. Give me enough notice, and I can actually do it without calling out. I can just tell them, hey, I'm going to be out of work in 2 weeks.
I feel like we've actually just planned an event, so we'll have to set that up sometime now. It's unavoidable. It's in the public domain now.
It's also on Discord, and soon it'll be on YouTube. So good job, Rob.
Yeah.
I'm sure Robertables has already made a clip.
Yeah, there's
Internet
a
never
Facebook,
forgets.
there's a Just Giving page already. We've not picked the charity yet, but we're working on it. Yeah. So on that bombshell, is there anything else that anyone wanted to? Obviously, this isn't the limitation. If there's anything that you think of later that comes up on the, you can drop something in the Discord if you think there's anything else we need to cover. But I think we have a strong starting point. Any more volunteers for things you'd like to discuss as a group before we go away and continue our nefarious planning in private?
Actually, I have one thing that I wanted to check and ask with you guys. As you guys know, I do the scream sheets for Cyberpunk Uncensored. Are you guys okay with some of our
Yes.
events and some of our stuff getting written down and published through IMG and whichever press it is? You guys okay with that?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
100,000,
naturally.
10%.
Yeah.
I'm a
All
rocker
right, be
girl.
prepared for our
Put my
shenanigans to
name-
go up online then.
Put the
Awesome.
rocker girl's
Oh
name
yeah,
everywhere.
we can include your roller derby stuff. We can get some competitors, we can get some scores, team names, we can get that stuff posted in there. It's good headline
yeah.
stuff that we could
That'd
add.
be good shit.
So thematically, I've already narratively done like as she gets her rocker levels. You know, normally like a band gets better venues and all that stuff. As she gets higher rocker ranks or charismatic impact ranks, it's her getting promoted through the tiers up until she's playing for like the Night City team on like the third line, then the second line. Now she's the backup jammer. Now she's the lead jammer. Now she's a team captain. So I got to write that up for Rob. How I want to
Nice.
like modify the rocker, like hustle tables and like how charismatic impact works a little bit to tailor it to like a sports athlete.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
nice.
said like
Yeah.
signing events and stuff like that
Yeah,
too.
like I said, if he played a gig in a small establishment, you know, some fans paid him for to come to a birthday party and sign for his daughter's friends and things like that. So
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is because of how Twitch works. There will be someone in the chat now who's just listened to that and is already typing away and creating a little app which will auto-generate all the results for your roller derby seasons and produce them in a readable cyberpunk appropriate format, and you'll get PM'd them within the next 24 hours because that's how these things happen. It's absolutely awesome, and if anyone wants to do that, go for it, please do.
yes, if you want to crowdsource team names with like the stupid crazy nicknames of the players, like hit and run, yeah, like throw them out there, please.
Yeah. We do love that kind of involvement with people. I mean, I have to say, my logo, which I use, you probably can't see it at the minute, which I use on Twitch and other places now, and I'm trying to actually get my handle on my social media stuff and do those things. Was just that's not made by me. That was made by one of our fantastic Discord members who was a viewer here and just popped up, and I mentioned that I was going to be working on putting together a logo that week, and about 6 hours later I just got PM'd with a couple of fantastic high resolution images, and he's like, well, you said you were going to do this, but I'm a graphic designer, so here you go, have this, what do you think? And it was just awesome. So we do love when people do those nice things. So feel free to get creative, get involved. Join the Cyberpunk Uncensored Discord. Check out the YouTube channel where you can see mine and many, many other games. all stored there. So everything goes up a few days after the live stream. Everything goes up on YouTube as well. There are tutorials. There are deep dives into all the different character roles. There are bits on history of the world, about how to run a better game, and how to, table etiquette, how to keep your players involved, how to keep stories interesting. There are resources for how to create a campaign. There's a quick campaign creator that Rob's put out recently, which is awesome. If you wanna put together, whether it's a one shot or whether you use it as an ongoing resource, and some people feel like they need like an extra spark, just something to kick off an idea, then you can look at this generator and it will just you roll dice and it will go, person wants you to steal this from a corporation, and the twist in the plot is this, and this is the main enemy that you face, and it's just so easy for getting quick started. So it's I mean, I can't say I have the opposite problem. I have too many ideas, and I am never going to play enough games to. I think of more game ideas during a session than I could ever play in a week. So I'm the opposite way, but for a lot of people, that is an amazing resource, and there's so much else on there. Please do check out our sponsors. They're really awesome, and they help help with the costs of running the channel and things. And check out everything that these guys do, because they're cool. They're going to be my new players, running along my Sunday alongside my Sunday Chumbas campaign, which is going to start with the session 0 for season 2. Will be this Sunday, so looking forward to that and seeing how we develop with some new players to add to the existing cast in there.
Your tomorrow.
So,
yeah.
I didn't think about it like that, and
had to torture him.
And I'm in work in 4 hours and 27 minutes, so that's fun. It's okay. I live for this stuff. And I sleep about 90 minutes a night anyway, so it's all good.
Get some rest.
I'd be dead.
Good rest.
There's a reason I look like this, people. Okay, so thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for watching our little session 0 and for contributing in the chat. We love you all. Get involved on the Discord. Find your own games. Start your own games and find players there. Just find resources there, because it's a really good source for them. And we will see you on a weekly basis right here.
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Have a
Peace
good night.
out.
Guys, soon.
Cyberpunk Uncensored.